Hi folks, Florida Man here, bringing you my first ever action after report of a gunboat diplomacy game that I played. Please enjoy. So, what I believe you're looking at now is a map of a game we played together.
Yeah.
Gambit beim Gunboat, and in this gunboat game, which I haven't played a lot of gunboat, and I don't consider myself to be very good at gunboat, but I thought, after talking to Brother Board, I thought I should play some more games of this kind. So I was Turkey here, and you, I believe, were Russia.
I was Russia. It was basically my very first game in gunboat, actually my second game overall, with 7 players. And I was actually the one who created the game for the basic reason that most of the deadlines are way too fast for me, so I wanted a 2-day deadline gunboat, and I'm happy it attracted you, actually.
Well, I'm glad I got to play with you. Why don't you tell me what you were thinking with 1901?
Well, on my side, 1901 was very easy for me. Germany opened towards Holland, which gave me a good path to get Sweden, and Italy held in Venice, which meant that Austria had to cover Trieste, and I would rather easily have Galicia. So the very first season, spring, was positive for me, with the perspective of getting two builds in the first year.
I can see that, yes. And this season was pretty standard for me as Turkey, because I open toward Austria, I bounce with you in the Black Sea, I get Bulgaria, and that's just in any gunboat or non-gunboat game. I feel like that's probably what usually happens for Turkey.
I guess so, yeah. Yes, so I was surprised with France not moving from Brest, but okay.
Yes, that is kind of funny that France didn't move Brest anywhere. Well, but at least France tried to defended Burgundy and moved towards Spain.
Yeah.
But it looks like England is opening against France, so this might be an early exit for them, potentially.
True. So I had the feeling, I'm not a specialist, I had the feeling Germany was rather anti-England. England opened against France. France maybe missed one order. Looked interesting in the West anyway.
Yes. Going to the fall, we see that Germany and England have a bounce in Belgium. So, we do see that I think you were correct to think that Germany and England might be hostile to each other.
Mm.
At the same time, though, France is clearly worried about both of them. France moves to Burgundy again and also tries to go for the Channel, although it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
What's going on over in the East?
Well, there on my side, I already took a decision, or have been hesitating about a decision, which was in the end probably not the best one. I was looking for Romania, of course, and took the decision to take it with an army. Decided to secure this with the fleet in Sebastopol, which meant that Turkey yourself would take the Black Sea. But I was really worried about securing this build. I already had in mind, this is where probably the first mistake comes from, I already had in mind that I would probably anyway try to ally with, or propose an alliance to Austria. That was something that was in my mind at the moment, which looks weird because I take Galicia, which obviously will not be appreciated by Austria. I just could not take it. It was basically secure for me to control Galicia, and then maybe decide something else rather than letting it empty. But, yeah,
This is
in my mind was already, okay, will I try to work with Turkey or with Austria? I might develop about this later, why I probably prefer Austria, which was looking at the map and the events, probably not the wise decision.
Interesting. From my end, I'm feeling like I should probably move against Russia right now because I made it successfully into the Black Sea. So I have a slight advantage relative to Russia, relative to you, because it gives me a little bit of a leg up if I want to attack Romania or Sevastopol, that I have the Black Sea, whereas I don't have any leverage, I don't have any possible support if I try to attack Austria right now. So normally, as Turkey or Russia, I prefer the juggernaut over allying with Austria. But but in this case, I might feel a little differently. And see, in the build phase, I do try to get a fleet so that I'll be able to attack Austria effectively if I need to.
Mhm.
And what are you thinking with your builds?
There, well, actually, the game was called Gambit at Gunboating, so I already thought, okay, Russia has not a good reputation, has not a reputation of being very successful. So maybe I try something from the beginning. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And if it works, it could be good. So I already had in mind to have two builds, but then to send them to the north, which is not what is advised, but okay. I wanted to have a try. So I had in mind already to build in Moscow and St. Petersburg, but then send the army in Moscow to St. Petersburg to go afterwards in Scandinavia, which of course implied that I have either a good ally or I'm in control of the situation in the south, which I didn't know at that moment. So that's really a kind of bet.
Interesting. I think you're making a good bet here, really, because I mean I know England can't defend Norway from you, and you're guaranteed to gain at least one center from this strategy.
That's what I hoped. That's what I hoped. Yeah, sorry, that's what I hoped, but I knew already that Austria would most probably, not knowing my intentions, take Galicia, and then what will happen in Romania would depend on their reaction. I had planned there to support them into Romania, that they would, of course, not to Bulgaria, that they would not take Bulgaria, probably because, I didn't know, but the probability was rather low, because I was looking like a threat at that moment. But then I was wondering, which I would never do in the future, if then I could how they would react to my support order against Turkey. Maybe I could try and explain why I chose to ally with Austria and not Turkey, because the map shows we'd better be working together against Austria, and basically not being experienced at all. I had a look in past games on the website, and I've been looking for, I think I found 5 games, solo games for each power, to look how they worked, what was the main strategy and the openings. And I focused, of course, mainly on Russia, Austria, and Turkey to know how they started. Found nothing very conclusive for Turkey. For Russia, neither. Every option was possible. But for Austria, for the very few successful games, actually I found one solo only, and maybe three-way draws, and 2 loss as second power. So each time that these 5 most successful Austrians had destroyed Turkey instead of Russia. And I thought, okay, let's see, the other players are probably more experienced than me. Let's see how the guy reacts when he sees that I offer an alliance against Turkey. And I just tried.
All right, and we see that Austria does take Galicia, tries to go after Romania. And I'm not a very experienced gunboat player myself, or perhaps I would have supported Austria into Romania, because it seems like this actually, in retrospect, was a great opportunity for me to form an alliance with Austria, because I could have tapped Sevastopol and supported into Romania, and thereby guaranteed that my potential ally would have gained Romania from you.
True. Retrospectively, I have a small feedback from the Austrian player, who's, by the way, successful and experienced. He's ranked number 4 in gunboat, and he told me, okay, he never had a really good success as Austria, so he doesn't like to play with it, or he has no global strategy for it. But his personal experience was, each time I fought against Turkey, I've been wasting energy and units, and in the end it benefited to somebody else. For instance, Germany, who soloed, and I could not stop them afterwards. And he said his personal preference was, I would rather ally with Turkey against Russia than the other way around. So yeah, actually, as we said, you missed an opportunity.
Well, that is a shame. And elsewhere, we see that your strategy is playing out fairly effectively. You've taken Norway, and opening north has been reasonably effective for you. I think.
So far, so good. Still on my bet. Warsaw is possibly endangered. And here's the real bet: do I support again? I think I will retreat to, I don't know if I retreat to Ukraine or probably Ukraine, and I decide there that I would reiterate the support order against Turkey, and let's see what happens. About Norway, I took it. England surprised me by their move to Skagerrak, which put them in a good position to take Norway again. But I'm not too worried about it. I know I will get it back at some point. I'm mainly worried about Warsaw.
Well, we do see that you retreated to Warsaw, I believe, and you held there. And Austria does now take Romania with support from himself or herself. And I am not really thinking very hard about trying to work with Austria. But you lose Warsaw and you don't gain Norway, but you're really well positioned to retake Norway, and Austria hasn't made an alliance against you. So in a way, you're not doing too badly at this point. I think.
No, I think sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, and with me having moved into the Aegean Sea successfully, and Austria having attempted to move to Bulgaria just to cut support potentially, Austria and I are looking a little bit hostile toward each other now.
Yeah. So basically, I'm not so confident in the south, but I'm happy in the north because my offensive in the north was obviously triggered a reaction from England, and France saw it. So that was something I was hoping for. That this move from England towards Scandinavia gives an opportunity for France to attack, and then how do you say that in English? And then, England has to fight against two enemies, and I can breathe a bit more in the north and secure Scandinavia.
Let's look at what happens next. Let's see. This is the build phase. You got.
I think I have to.
Actually, neither of us got a build.
No, I think I even have to disband because I lose Romania. I didn't have Norway in the end, so I just remained with 1 unit to defend Warsaw and Ukraine.
Yeah, I see that.
And what I hadn't really noticed in the fall is that Germany had supported twice against me. They supported England twice against me, and I hadn't noticed. And it's actually, it was already a sign that they could be moving towards me in the fall of 2003, which they did.
Yeah, I think Germany saw that there was a big opening there for them.
Yeah, which was true. So this is the spring. Yeah, so I take Norway rather easily. That was not a big deal. In the south, I decided to do nothing mostly because I had no more idea. I didn't want to go to Warsaw now and leave Ukraine empty. I preferred to wait and have the possibility to bounce in Warsaw afterwards. But hadn't counted on the fact that Germany would also go towards me in Warsaw. So I have now three potential enemies surrounding Warsaw, which is not so good.
Yeah. In my own moves, I'm just being very defensive right now. I'm just trying not to lose anything, which is not a great way to win at diplomacy. But I have no particular confidence that either you or Austria are going to be friendly or helpful toward me. So I'm just trying to make sure that Bulgaria isn't taken. So I tap Romania to keep it from supporting, and I tap Greece to keep it from supporting, and I support Bulgaria to hold from Constantinople.
But this attempt towards Romania was a sign for me that, we could do something against Austria together. You've been rather consistent, whether against me or against Austria, to move towards Romania. So this was a signal for me, which I think I used in the following season, if I'm not wrong.
I think so. For me, I think I'm just acting like a totally blind person in this game so far because it's Gunboat, and so I am having a lot of trouble getting anything from what's happening so far that's helpful to me. But in the fall, you do support me into Romania. I looked at that as like a miracle or something that, to my great surprise, I actually got it, and I did not expect to at all. I was just tapping it for the sake of cutting support. And I think from here, I'm thinking about how I can take advantage of this and launch a better attack on Austria.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, Italy supported Austria and Greece, so even if I attacked Greece, it would not have been successful. And Italy is also getting quite large, getting Spain and Marseille this year. So
Yeah.
what's happening elsewhere in the map is that other people are growing larger much more quickly than either of us.
Yeah, also this came from the previous season where France NMR'd, and it's started to smell for them. I thought it would smell for me too, because if they really do not play anymore, yeah, Italy and Germany would grow and could become a threat for you and for me. And as for Austria, it was rather, I had made my mind the fact that they took Romania, in spite of my 2 consecutive support, showed for me that, okay, they are playing against me, at least for the next coming years. So I'm clearly against them, and it was an incentive for me to try something with you. And in Italy, I could not read them very well in the 2 first years, but from that moment on, it was rather clear that they were clearly, ostensively supporting Austria. It was the most stable. They've been the most stable, I think, in the whole game, showing or even imposing the strategy to the others, and we had to adapt with our alliance or attacks.
Yeah, I think that there's a common perception in non-gunboat games that Italy and Austria are close allies and just natural friends. And I think that the same thing kind of applies to gunboat games, because Italy and Austria have an awareness through the meta that if they attack each other, that it's probably going to destroy both of them. Go into the build phase, Italy is getting more fleets. I get a new fleet in Smyrna, and so my plan here is to defend against Italy and its increasingly large armada, try to take the Ionian Sea, and if that happens, then maybe I can attack Austria more effectively in Greece and in Trieste, and have multiple angles by which to attack, as opposed to right now where I'm just attacking from one side. What are you thinking with this phase? I know you build an army in Warsaw, and it seems kind of intuitive.
I was very happy to build in Warsaw because I thought that Germany would take it. I just bounced there just because I could not do it. And the small miracle for me was that Germany decided to move one of their units back west to Munich instead of attacking Warsaw with two units. I assume they changed their mind because France stopped playing, and they were kind of stretched between France, possibly Austria being still antagonistic, and then against me. And I have the feeling they tried to recenter their units and try to cover this whole area, Ruhr, Burgundy, Munich, and just sent one of their army against Warsaw instead of taking it 100% sure. So it kind of saved me, because then I could bounce in Warsaw and build there from the center I took in Norway, and then it stabilized everything for me, which was a small miracle, I would say. So the mistake I made in 1902 with this loss of Romania kind of got repaired by the fact that Germany allowed me to build in Warsaw 1 year later.
Yes. This is things are not going too badly now, I think, for you. And you are able to, I see, move St. Petersburg south and stand defensively in the south. And I think I was hoping you would support me holding in Romania this season so that I could hold on to it, because you had supported me in getting it. I believe Bulgaria supported Romania to hold as well, but I was just trying to reposition to attack Austria, but then I immediately lose Romania. So
yes, so basically my bet with this double attack in the north got, in the end, I brought my unit back south to reinforce the south. So this kind of offensive got kind of cancelled. And here I missed all that with Ukraine. Ukraine attacked Warsaw. That's not what I meant. Anyway, what I meant was also rather useless. I was non-experienced. I was fearing that maybe at this point Germany and Austria would try and combine together to take Warsaw, which was probably totally unrealistic at this point of the game. So I wanted Ukraine to support Warsaw. And I had already decided for this season that Ukraine will not support Romania. I didn't want to mobilize or assign one unit for the defense of Romania. I didn't think I could afford to use 2 units to defend Romania, and I kind of hoped that Austria would not attack with full force, and they did with 3 units. So I did a bad decision, and we saw it from.
It was an interesting thing how all of this stuff happened. Actually, I was as I said, I was surprised not to get support for Romania from Sevastopol, because that's the only thing Sevastopol could have supported.
Oh, I did not. I can't remember. Okay.
I don't think so, because it would normally show it on the map if you're supporting. But I mean, it also doesn't show that I supported Romania from Bulgaria, so I'm not sure why that is. I could have sworn I did that because that's the only thing Bulgaria could usefully do, given that Bulgaria was holding in place. Oh, but actually the reason why is because Greece tapped Bulgaria and cut the support. I believe. Yeah, Greece tapped Bulgaria. So that support didn't work in any case. So even if you did support from Sevastopol, it wouldn't help. I'm not sure if you.
Yeah, Sevastopol did support. It's not just shown on the map, but I just checked in the orders. I supported, but just with 1 unit. It was not enough.
Darn, that is a shame. I wonder if I thought you hadn't supported. But I try to. I again tap Romania, and I try to attack Greece this season, and it's just Italy is on Austria's side, so there's overwhelming force on the other side of what I'm doing. I don't really have the muscle to overcome it. Even with your help, I wouldn't have enough force to overcome it, I don't think.
Mm. Yeah, this is the point when I started to wonder if we would be able to do anything against Austria. They were relatively compact, supported by Italy. But at that moment, I was taking every turn one after the other against Austria. I could not really have a feel of how it would evolve.
Yeah, the only thing we can really see this season is a ton of bounces. The only one who's actually making forward progress is Italy.
Yeah, Germany is also good. They have 8 centers. I was fearing both. I was kind of hoping already that Italy at some point would start. I don't know when, but I was placing my hope in Italy to start Austria at some point. That's why I never tried to look antagonistic towards Italy, but I was worried about Germany. What would they do? Would they turn against me? Not that they have conquered everything from France, or would they turn against England, which was my only possibility to expand? I was personally worried about Germany. There was one thing just the season before, if you could move back, which I found interesting for me. It's again a turn in the beginning where I did nothing in Scandinavia. I think it was the spring of here. Yeah. So France had already 2 turns in a row given no order. Fortunately for them, or unfortunately for England, they had ordered a retreat in between, so they had not yet auto-surrendered. And I was rather sure that France would do nothing again this turn, and I was expecting England to move out in the Norwegian, and so to try to start moving again towards Scandinavia, which they haven't done. England defended again against a France who was not playing. And the funny thing is, I don't know what really happened, but I had the feeling that Germany read England better than me, because he moved out of Denmark. Maybe he was hoping that I moved out of Sweden towards Norway and Norway to Norwegian Sea. I don't know, but he moved Denmark, which I did not expect at all. And it opened it gave me an opportunity that I was not counting for. Germany had 7 or 8 centers. They were about to build 2 units, possibly even a fleet in Kiel if Kiel went empty in the fall. And I wanted absolutely no fleet in Kiel, because I didn't want them to move to the North Sea and compete with me for the conquest of England. So I decided to bounce in Denmark to prevent Germany from building in Kiel. So here they could build twice, but they cannot, because their centers are occupied.
Yes.
So it was mean for me. I didn't know how Germany would react. At that point, strangely, it's probably something that only a beginner like me can think of. I hadn't made up my mind about Germany. I feared them, did not exclude to work with them in the future, but I used this opportunity to prevent them from building another unit and possibly a fleet.
Well, I don't think that was a bad instinct. I think that was pretty clever, really, because I don't think you had any particular reason to feel that Germany would be friendly towards you in the future. And I think that figuring that Germany would go to Denmark was clever, because that made a lot of sense for Germany to do, both to open up Kiel for a build and to defend, because you had left Sweden where it was.
Yeah. And at that point, it's actually the season before when I saw England defending against France again, even though from my perspective, France would not play, that I had the feeling, England is playing extremely defensive. And that's the moment where I more or less understood 80% of the moves from England. He surprised me by doing something, and that forced me to reconsider how he's been playing. And from that moment on, I started to play cat and mouse with England. So in this time, luckily again for me, and unfortunately for England, there was another player who took over France, who played for one single round, had no chance to achieve anything, but he joined the game, which is nice from him. And it forced, again, England to defend. And I used this opportunity to take more agency and kind of take positions to pressure England.
Well, I think that's a very good overview of what happened that season. Thank you. Going to the build phase, I see that neither of us had anything. So is there anything you wanted to comment on here, though?
I don't think so. So now Italy and Germany have conquered everything they could from France, and now would come the point where they would have to decide what they do. Germany wrote in the shout box in the end that they were hoping at this point that they would not fight each other and turn towards the east, and Italy took another decision.
It's interesting. Italy and Austria both built armies right next to each other in Venice and Trieste.
True.
I think it felt like Italy would turn on Austria to me at this point.
Yeah, I was also hoping that rather frequently. Wouldn't they have been successful against Germany? They would have had anyway at some point to get new centers. Yeah, I was hoping if they don't progress against you, if they don't progress against Germany, then we have a chance that they start Italy. And we had several times in the game some signs that they did not trust each other so much. There were moves between Trieste, Tyrolia, Venice, Tyrolia, Italy supporting Austria, but Austria never always declining the offer. They did not really trust each other. We're happy not to fight one another, but they were not totally secure of what would happen, I think.
I think you're right. I mean, in Gunboat, I think it's hard to have any kind of really solid trust with anyone. It's just my opinion, because there's no sense of loyalty. There's no reassuring other people. There's no real dialogue of the kind we're having right now. So here I get into Romania again because you supported me in, but I had no particular reason to expect that to happen again, except for that you had done it before.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I think I did the season before, but with one support less, and then Austria could simply defend it. They always defended a lot in the fall, and then I did not expect it would work because he could still bring one defensive support more the next season. But I tried anyway. Okay, this time I will support also with Ukraine. Or no, Warsaw kept support from Galicia. So I used 3 units to let you into Romania, which I did not do the season before. I just used 2 units for that. I didn't know how Austria would react, but basically they did the same as the season before, and this time it worked. I would have expected from them that they see that we've tried with 3 or 4 units to take Romania, and that there was a danger, but he remained with the same defense, and that's why you got Romania this time.
Yes. At the same time, in the West, Italy has clearly decided to continue fighting with Germany, and so probably not going to devote resources to turning on Austria, because that would get Italy into a 2-front war. So even though Italy is in Tyrolia now, Austria is relatively safe, and Austria also vacates Trieste, showing that Austria was also not trying to start a fight with Italy. So things are not looking good for me because they're both free to focus as much of their fire on me as they want to, and I've still made no meaningful progress against Austria.
One center still.
Yes, one center that keeps getting pushed back and forth.
Yeah.
And this fall, I get very lucky, and I take Greece because Austria. I think did Austria fail to enter orders or something, or
Well, maybe this time Italy did not support Greece and decided to move to the East Mediterranean. I can't really remember, but yeah, they obviously made a mistake.
I believe you're right. Yes, and so Austria for the first time is actually reduced significantly. And for a brief moment, things look okay. With the problem being that in this season we have I do have Greece now unexpectedly, but it's taken with a fleet, and Romania is also taken with a fleet. So neither of these units can support any further attack on Austria, and so it's a temporary victory, and it's great. It feels great, but it's going to be impossible to build on it.
Yeah, that was my worry as well.
Yeah. On the bright side, you're in Denmark.
True. That was one of the. It was the first time that I attacked Germany, even though I was in position to attack England, more or less. This fleet was in the Norwegian Sea two turns before, and basically I've been. How can I say that? I've been worried the whole game about those English fleets that could, I think it was anyway the case, a real threat, anytime sneak into Norwegian Sea, Barents Sea, and take either Norway or St. Petersburg. As soon as I attack, it will be an exchange between Edinburgh and Norway, and I had the feeling it was anyway preferable for England to make this switch and get Edinburgh afterwards, and that would be in the end, the game I did before was a small replacement. I took over a two-centered Russian at the end of the game, and the key of the game was to defend St. Petersburg, which we've never been able to defend. So I was kind of aware that it's difficult up north as Russia to defend against fleets in the north. So I feared these English fleets, and I've been twice in the game in a position to attack Edinburgh, and in the end I did a surprise attack against Germany. So I took Denmark.
And I think that I also think that it's worth noting the importance of a gesture of you attacking Germany at the same time that Germany is fighting Italy, because this is a gesture of friendship toward Italy, and Italy is the strongest power on the board at this point, really, both in terms of number of centers and in terms of position.
Yeah.
Italy is either the strongest or tied for the strongest, and so you're forming an alliance with them essentially is a good step for you.
Mm.
And going forward, we see I build an army in Ankara, a fleet in Smyrna, and you build a fleet in St. Pete.
Yeah. Still with the idea to take control of these seas in the north, contain England, prevent them from expanding towards me. And possibly take some of their centers. I still didn't have in mind at that point to fully attack Germany.
This looks like such an opportune position right here. If only I had an army in Greece or Romania. But we see that in the spring, this very immediate season, right after I had taken Romania, I am losing it to Austria. I moved to the Black Sea because I was hoping that I could convoy my unit in Ankara over to Romania, and thereby improve my position relative to Austria.
I've been wondering for 4 days what you had in mind. I feared that you got scared from a support order I issued the season before, where I issued a totally impossible order for Italy against Liverpool, which was aiming at not aiming at Italy alone, who was busy fighting Germany, but I wanted to disturb England, and it worked actually. I had a feeling that it worked. He moved 2 minutes west, but then I thought, it could be that Turkey got disturbed by my order and think that I'm going to reverse all the alliance and they want to bounce in the Black Sea. No, we had something else in mind then.
No, yes, I was a little worried that I might antagonize you by moving to the Black Sea, but I knew I really have no choice but to try and put an army in Romania or Greece. If I can't do that, we're never going to make any forward progress. Unfortunately, at this point, Italy has become a committed enemy, and so I'm going to be distracted with bouncing those.
Okay.
And at the same time, I'm also Austria chose this spring to try and retake Romania, and so that was clearly, of course, successful. And
that's fine.
It's a shame that you didn't manage to get Galicia at the same time that Austria moved out of it, because.
What did I do there? I tried to support Germany against Austria, and they didn't even need my support actually. Yeah.
I think after last year, Germany is probably not feeling very, very friendly towards you, to be honest.
Yeah. I wanted to look nice to him after I took Denmark. I support you towards Galicia, so that we could work together against Austria. But yeah, it was pretty naive from me. And coming back to the move to the Black Sea, I saw two possible explanations. One was that you thought I would be turning against you, and the other explanation was, oh, maybe he doesn't like having a fleet in Romania. But then I thought you would try. Whatever was the reason, you would have to try to take back Romania on the following turn, and I thought that Bulgaria would be a good candidate.
Bulgaria would have been a good candidate. Unfortunately, I think we, you couldn't have possibly known what I was thinking of doing, and I did try to. I tried to just move the fleet back in because I didn't want to lose Romania, and. Because I was using Ankara to protect Smyrna to try and bounce Italy, and I was using Khan to support Bulgaria, so I didn't feel like I had a unit available to convoy. The tactics here are really ruining the strategy. Like, I'm not advancing my position at all, and I did lose that center now, so it's kind of 2 steps forward and 1 step back. I at least get Ionian Sea, though, this season, so that's kind of a neat thing.
Yeah, it looks promising. Looked promising. Although, yeah, in the Black Sea in Romania, it kind of just marked the moment where we could not be really working together or achieve anything. So I did support Bulgaria. One reason was, exactly as you explained, actually, these fleets could not really help progressing, and I would always need 3 units. 2 units to support, 1 unit to cut support from Galicia, just to help your fleet sitting in Romania. And I could not afford that either. So that's why I just hoped that you would try moving with Bulgaria, which was just maybe a 30%, 50% guess. But I think at that moment our cooperation just reached its end. Austria was not going to be removed. Unfortunately,
no. And I'm guessing that this is probably where you begin to lose confidence in me as a long-term ally, because you see I'm not really growing, I'm not really making much forward progress. Is that correct?
Yeah, particularly after, I think you disband afterwards, you have to disband and choose to disband the Black Sea. So it's just simply the fact that there was even no units that could really work together.
And I do disband the Black Sea.
Yeah, which I found bold, which means, okay, you have no fleet in the, how do you pronounce that in English, Ionian Sea, who would try to paint the Azov easily. It looked interesting. I was quite curious to see how it would evolve. And that moment is the one that decided me to fully attack Germany. Couldn't do anything against Austria, could not combine with you. I was still, in spite of all these 3 fleets in the north against England, I wasn't sure if taking Edinburgh would not backlash, so I decided to attack Germany.
Interesting.
Which is the country I live in, by the way, so don't tell my wife that I attacked Berlin, the city I live in.
That's an interesting shift in strategy, and I think Italy is still probably opposed to Germany, yeah. And so you'll probably have some support in attacking Germany at least, or someone providing suppressive fire on the other side.
Mm.
And we do see Germany is still very much thinking of Italy as the enemy there, because Germany goes for Gascony and protects Brest from Italy, and doesn't really do anything to defend against you except for moving to Holland, which you bounce.
A clever move he kind of saw my double move to Prussia and Silesia. He saw it because had he done something else, I would have had Berlin the following season. Now he has 2 to 3 units to defend Berlin. I cannot do anything with these two armies for the moment. So he saw my double move. It was really good from him. I actually enjoyed being outguessed from him at that moment. So I moved toward Germany, but I'm not so happy in the end. Warsaw is undefended, so I needed to get Berlin to build in Warsaw, which would not happen. So I had to decide what I do next, and I decided to keep on attacking Germany, and then I decided to shift my fleets. You see this fleet in Norway going to Sweden. I decided on the following turn to even shift it to the Baltic Sea and North Sea to Denmark. So I totally abandoned the English front to turn even more against Germany. So he outguessed me in the first step, but I go further on the second step.
Well, it's a big shift then in Russian foreign policy, and I can see how this will be probably a very effective change, considering the sheer number of units you have available to throw at Germany. We'll see how that works out. You move 1 unit back to defend against the possibility of an Austrian attack on Warsaw. At the same time, I unfortunately lose the Ionian and Greece. So this is a low point for me, and I don't know that there was that much I could have done differently right now, just because my position was relatively weak and I was under attack by 2 powers and not really capable of receiving support from you, even if you had wanted to give me support.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's been the whole. I was also wondering all this time when I started to move against Germany, how you would react about it, because you have all interest of seeing Germany being successful against Italy. So I was kind of playing against you as well.
Yes,
but, yeah.
I wasn't thinking of you as an enemy because of that. Because for me, Germany succeeding against Italy, like I know it's sort of relevant, but it's not going to directly affect what's happening to me right now, unless Germany succeeds to an astonishing degree, sufficient to prevent Italy from coming at me with these 3 fleets. Or even with 2 of the fleets, Italy is still causing a big problem. My really big issue is Austria, and I know you're still my only potential ally against Austria. So I'm not really bothered by your decision to attack Germany. So here we see Austria continuing to make further progress against me. This is really where I'm no longer a power to be reckoned with, because I only have the 2 armies in the homeland and the fleet in the Ionian Sea now. So at this point, it's just I kind of begin to accept that I'm not going to win this game. What are your thoughts at this point?
At that point, I kind of forgot the southeastern part of the map, which in a sense was also rather comfortable. I couldn't be attacked by you. Could be attacked by Austria, but they were still busy taking the Balkans back. So I could focus on the north against England and Germany. This is where I think I put most of my efforts. I don't know, I see here that I tried to cut support from Romania. So I kind of tried to help because I'm also feeling that I'm fighting England, or I'm about to fight England, I'm fighting Germany, I'm fighting Austria. I have no ally except you, with whom I cannot combine. So I was still trying to show some, okay, when the occasion still arise in the future, we can still do something maybe. But more than that, I could not do. So this is a turn when I took Berlin and positioned myself to take Kiel right afterwards without any opposition.
Right. And I think your tactics have been very successful here so far. I think you're clearly establishing a strong position from which to ride out the rest of the game. Any turbulence that may occur is probably not going to shake you from the centers you now hold, because England is your main opponent in the north, but England is so small that England's probably not going to take Norway or any part of Scandinavia, and Germany has no naval forces with which to challenge your hold on Denmark or Berlin. So as long as you just keep a unit or two there to support Berlin in place, I think you should be set for the rest of the game.
Maybe it felt differently for me, but again, it's probably because I don't have any enough experience. I always had the feeling that when I got a new center, there was still a kind of gap on my line, and then I needed another center just to secure the one I just conquered. Maybe maybe I'm just not seeing the map properly, but I felt there was still a possible threat from England. As soon as I move one unit south or leave the Norwegian Sea free, they could have the possibility to sneak in to St. Petersburg, and if I have a disband, then Germany could have the possibility to take Denmark, etc., etc. Maybe I was paranoid. I don't know.
I don't know. I think that England is not a really big threat to you, but that's just my perspective. I feel, and in hindsight, I think you're being fairly secure here probably looks even clearer to me. But it's I'm also just looking at this a lot like the way I would look at a non-gunboat map, because that's the way I think about things, is from the perspective of someone who plays press diplomacy. And so in press diplomacy, your position looks incredibly strong, because if you can coordinate and if you can make deals with your neighbors who might otherwise go to war with you, then being in a strong position is even more likely to be a stable condition. Here we see you take Kiel. So now you are, in addition to having successfully attacked Berlin, you now have another German home center, so you control 2/3 of the German homeland, and England's not advancing against you. I'm really loving your position, whereas the best I can do right now is sneak into Tunisia.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to be a nuisance now. I understand that my game is over.
It's visible. You could take Tunis, you can take Naples, but whatever you can build after that cannot help. But it's interesting to follow. It followed against you anyway. Huh? It took quite some time before they got rid of your fleet there. You've been a problem for them.
I've been a thorn in the side, at least. And that's part of the virtue of the Turkish position, is that it's slow to be eliminated and can cause quite a nuisance for those trying to eliminate it. You know, going forward, I see you build an army in Sevastopol, a fleet in St. Pete.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say, this, I think, is showing your country, Russia, here in its best light, where you are great potential to expand, and you are boldly stepping forward to secure the centers you'll need to be a major player going through to the end of the game.
Although it's probably the case at that moment, it was not clear in my mind at this point. But here was a rather important decision for me to move this fleet out of Sevastopol with the idea to build an army. What I was aiming at that moment is to show, okay, guys, if you want to take Turkey, I'm with him. I had in mind, okay, this could maybe be an incentive for Italy, if they cannot progress against Turkey, to stab Austria. I had a second thought, of course, because the move just before, I think, was kind of critical. If Austria had accepted the support from Italy, you would have lost Constantinople. And if it ever happened, I was still there in the Black Sea to maybe get a piece of the cake. So I was aiming at I was having the two possibilities in mind: either defend with you if you still defend the whole peninsula, or even take Ankara if you fail.
It sounds as if you were, I mean, I think you were well positioned to benefit regardless of what happened, honestly. Because if Italy had turned on Austria, you'd get half of Austria. If they just finish me off, you get a Turkish center, and it's going to be very difficult for them to ever coordinate well enough to take that back from you if they wanted to do that. And you are very strong in the north and west, I think, because of your 4 fleets there. So, yeah. I mean, you do lose Kiel here.
Which was intentional.
Intentional, interesting.
I could have supported it with Denmark and Berlin. It would have just held. But I decided for one turn to use my 2 supporting units to do something else. So Denmark supported a move to the North Sea, just to take the North Sea, and Berlin, I think, tried to support Silesia doing whatever, and it failed. And I did it because I knew that even if I lost Kiel now, I would take it on the following turn. It was just a spring season, so I decided just to allow my 2 supporting units to do something else. And the main benefit was progressing in the North Sea.
Very understandable reasoning, I think. In the fall, we see you do indeed retake Kiel, and elsewhere you are defending your homeland quite successfully. So not much is happening in the southeast this year. The only thing that happened for me is that I traded Tunis for Naples, so that's kind of amusing. Italy is playing a very silly little game of musical chairs with me against Italy's wishes, because Italy chose to attack me earlier. So as I said, I'm trying to make a ruckus, be a nuisance, make myself more trouble to eliminate than Italy was anticipating. I think that I'm succeeding in that, if nothing else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not an easy position anyway. What happened actually with me, I made this move. Yeah, I had this fleet in the Black Sea, so I wanted to be present more in the south, and just realized maybe 10 minutes after the deadline that it was not so clever, because I would have a gap in Silesia or wherever that Austria could use against me. That's why I started from this season, actually to correct, I changed my mind, and to move again all my units on the front line towards the northwest and abandon the Black Sea, which worked only 50%. I got blocked in Ukraine, which was still okay. I could bounce forever in Ukraine, and at least Silesia and Warsaw were more safe. I don't know which year we are now. Yeah, okay, probably 1909 or.
We're getting closer to the end. So here I'm just getting closer to being eliminated. Italy has a unit in Syria now. Pretty soon Italy will be able to launch a strong supported attack on Smyrna. What's going on with you?
At that point, I took London. It's my favorite move of the game. Simply favorite move because it really took quite some time before I decide which set of move I would be using against England. And I was happy that I could guess what he was doing, and that I chose the set of order which was the less risky for me. And actually, I guessed right. He moved to Yorkshire because, what did he want to do? I forgot. I think I understood what he would be expecting from me. It's been twice in a row that I was in a position to attack Edinburgh or even take it and did not do it. It gave me the 2 previous times the occasion to see how he reacted at that 2 moments, and he did the same thing the 3rd time. So I basically just bet again, and it worked. I took London, which I was really happy with, because I've been scratching my head for hours about this set of move, and I in the end found this one a couple of hours before the deadline, and it was the good one. And for the rest of the map, still bouncing in Ukraine, it would be happening quite sometimes till the end of the game. Yeah, and I don't think there's much more. to say, yeah, Italy is still struggling to around Paris. It would take quite some time for them to get Paris, actually. I think they could have taken it much faster if they had done differently.
I think if they hadn't devoted so many units to finishing me off, they would have taken Paris much more quickly. But Italy only having the 2 armies in the area, I mean, the 1 fleet can't do anything, so the fact that there's only the 2 armies there makes it very difficult for Italy, because Germany should just keep moving Paris to Burgundy indefinitely. If Germany succeeds in moving Paris to Burgundy, that means Italy moved to Gascony in order to support an attack on Paris. If Germany succeeds in moving to Burgundy, Germany could walk into Marseille, potentially. So Italy is at risk of playing a guessing game anytime Italy doesn't go to Burgundy. Italy is, so this set of moves could repeat many times, because Italy is just hoping Germany will change, or gambling whether or not Germany will change Germany's move of Paris to Burgundy. And without an additional unit, Italy is going to have some trouble being able to finish Germany off safely without risking losing Marseille or Spain. On the bright side for Italy, they are definitely finishing me off one step at a time. I lose Naples here, and I don't gain anything else, so it's just me in my 3 home centers hoping that people will leave me alone. And I see you're still in London, and not really much has happened, except for that England is now trying to put these on the front line with you, so that maybe England can take Norway from you to make up losing Edinburgh.
It's basically the counter-attack that I've been fearing from the beginning, and in the end it happened.
Yeah, but it's too late now. England just England was never very strong, but England doesn't have the muscle anymore to make this attack effective. And even if England does make an effective attack, you can just walk into Liverpool or Edinburgh with this remaining fleet. So England's really just treading water now, and eventually is bound to drown as soon as England stops moving. So I'm in much the same position as myself, actually.
It looked like already one could pre-see, okay, who will survive till the end or not.
Oh, yeah.
That's the moment I think I started, no, not yet. I started to think about a 3-way draw. At least I knew at that moment that I would stay till the end.
Yes, that's clear now, I think. And I think Austria is pretty clear on that too. Austria is just trying to... All Austria's moves are defensive here. There's just tapping Ukraine in case that might succeed, supporting Greece in place, moving Vienna to Trieste. Austria's worried that Italy is going to betray them now, because this might be Italy's last chance to make a run for a solo. And Austria doesn't want that to happen. Austria wants to last into the draw, so Austria is acting defensively.
Yeah. I think it was just there or the turn before that I missed the opportunity to take Munich, which would have changed a few things for me. It would have brought a build that I needed against England, and it did not happen. I expected Austria to defend Munich because they've been playing so defensive, for most of the game, that I expected them to defend with a support Munich in the fall, and they did not. They did a rather clever move to Bohemia, which would in the end be a problem for me till the end. They would have a shot at Silesia, and then afterwards could threaten Warsaw and Ukraine till almost the end of the game.
Yes, I see that. And they do take Silesia here. Now Austria has a I would say a pretty strong defensive position relative to you. You would have a lot of trouble stabbing them, and at the same time, Italy takes London off of you and takes Paris off of Germany. And Smyrna from me, of course. So Italy is solidifying its position as the dominant power on the board, while Italy's ally for the whole game thus far, Austria, is also getting into a position to try and either defend very firmly against you, or maybe even attack you and take Warsaw or Berlin. But mostly, I think this game is just drawing toward its natural conclusion of a 3-power draw. Because I think a 2-power draw would be pretty close to impossible to achieve in Gunboat.
I guess so. So there, I gave the opportunity to Italy to take London. I was wondering if they would go to Liverpool, which they would have had anyway without any problem. I was wondering, are they looking for a 3-way draw now, or would they be looking for a solo? And that just here, by taking London, they showed that, okay, they would be looking for a solo if they have an opportunity.
Well, I mean, they couldn't have taken Liverpool this season. They weren't next to Liverpool, only London. But
Yeah.
I do think that you're right that Italy is feeling ambitious in this game, and the fact that Italy takes this opportunity and gains 3 new centers is definitely, it feels like a moment when Italy could go for the solo. Italy builds another army and another fleet, so this year is really the last opportunity for, well, not the last opportunity, but it's one of the last opportunities you and Austria are going to get to restrain Italy together. Because I think if Italy wants to, if your units are all on the other side of Austria, then Italy can attack Austria without any fear of consequences and go for the solo that way. And so if you guys can't form some sort of united front against Italy pretty soon, I think it's likely Italy could solo.
Yeah. I think from that point on, I was aiming at the 3-way draw. I was worried about the progression of Italy, and I was, of course, worried that Austria would keep on attacking Warsaw and Ukraine till the end of the game almost, and would force me to assign 1 or 2 units too many to that defense instead of using those missing units against Italy to try to slow them in England, Germany. Yeah. So I've been wondering turn after turn if Austria was not actually preparing the Italian solo. That's how it felt, turn after turn from 2012 till 2015.
Well, there are definitely some moments where it feels like Austria could be basically giving Italy the solo here. But here Austria moves defensively away from you, moves Bohemia and Tyrolia into Vienna and Trieste. Austria is aware that Italy is the solo threat, so Austria is acting accordingly. Austria bounces Italy attempting to move to the Ionian Sea here, and Austria's only moves related to you are really defensive moves. Austria taps Berlin in case you wanted to support an attack on Munich. Austria supports Romania to hold. That's it. You and Austria are probably about to get on the same page, I think.
Not yet. Here, for instance, once we cannot see the support orders are not shown when they fail, but they attack Berlin with 2 units. So I have to defend Berlin each time with 2 units. Till it lasts now still quite some seasons before Berlin is safe. But you're right, on this specific turn they shifted a lot of their units. Yeah.
Interesting. And yeah, I do see Austria is continuing to attack Berlin here the next season, and you're attacking Galicia and Romania, but
almost actually this has been quite a funny game. It lasted 5 or 6 seasons where I was simply here trying to defend. If I'm correct, yeah, Moscow had to be empty because I still had to get rid of England. And I only had these 3 units, Warsaw, Ukraine, and Sevastopol, to defend Warsaw and Ukraine. And with a fleet, of course, you cannot support Ukraine. So I had to bounce to get support permanently from Romania and try to guess what Austria would be doing. Would they attack with Vienna, with Silesia, or Budapest? And it's been a kind of game of guess for 5 seasons in a row. What is Austria going to do next time? Unfortunately, I managed to bounce each time against the correct unit. Otherwise, I think they would have taken Ukraine and afterwards one of my centers.
Possibly. I mean, I think because you have only that fleet in Sevastopol, you're probably right about that. defending Galicia is the most important thing for you here, I think. I think if Austria was very determined to, then Austria could have probably taken it. I don't think Austria is really trying to finish you off.
Good. Also, he confirmed afterwards that he was trying to grab one of my centers. Again, we don't see the supports who fade, but he attacks with 3 units.
He attacks where with 3 units?
I think Vienna supports Budapest, and Romania supports. I need to check on the other page. What I do is I cut a support from Romania, and Warsaw supports Ukraine to Galicia. So he attacks with 3 units, and I defend with 2 and cut support with the 3rd. So, and it happens each time for 4 or 5 seasons. So yeah.
So Austria gets into Galicia immediately after this.
Yeah.
And at this point, you have that army back down from St. Pete, so you can defend Warsaw no matter what Austria does. But
yeah.
But if Austria guesses correctly, now Austria can get Ukraine. Yeah, and that's that would be quite bad for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, we see that Austria is not successful in taking. Well, Austria is not trying to take Ukraine. I don't think Austria is trying to take Warsaw. Is that
here I can't remember. I can try, if you have a few seconds, I can try and see what happened. Which season is that?
Not sure. It's getting pretty close to the draw, though.
Yeah. Anyway, but I think the moment when Austria stopped attacking me is the season they took Venice. But before that, they kept on trying to get Ukraine.
All right. I don't know if you have a lot to say about these last seasons, because it seems like it's just a lot of
yeah. Sorry, I was
play.
True. I was surprised because I didn't know that you managed to defend so long. Actually,
Yeah.
Actually, you managed to survive till the end. At some point, Italy was simply there were way too many. But you had at some point one clever move that I did not expect, and that forced him to bring again another unit to really finish you off.
Yes, that was pretty funny. The Turkish position just has a lot to recommend it, and we do see that I last till, let's see, I take Smyrna back after losing Ankara, so I last until almost the end. But yeah, I last until a year before the end.
I think just after you lost your last center, then the draw has been passed. Actually, yes. We're just waiting for you to die.
I appreciate that. Well, I'm glad to have been such a nuisance. And at the same time that I died, Germany also died.
Yeah. He had a last funny move where he abandoned Holland and took Belgium from Italy, which allowed me to take Holland totally unexpectedly and to build in Moscow. And this is what secured Ukraine and Warsaw definitely for me. And then I was relieved. And at that moment, then Austria attacked Venice. And after that, it was just the 2 of us against Italy.
Yes, that makes sense because Italy could solo here. And I don't think there's really an opportunity for you or Austria to do so.
No.
Yeah, because Italy is at what? Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. With Venice, it would be 15 centers. So Italy could definitely have soloed if not for Austria stabbing them and being cognizant that Italy was a solo threat. But with you two working together against Italy, then it's no longer possible at all. And hence, it's a natural result here that the 3 of you accept the draw. But, I thought it was an interesting experience, this game. It was a little frustrating for me toward the end because I knew I was just killing time. I wasn't going to actually succeed at that point in surviving the game. But, it had its merits. It's as an exercise in trying to learn more about reading the map and the other player's intentions just from moves. I don't think I'm going to be a big fan of Gunboat, because it takes away what is, for me, the most important part of the game, which is to try and convince other people to your side. And in this game, the only thing you can communicate with is your actions. So there's nothing of persuasion about it, really. It's just, I, by my actions, am proposing an alliance. You either accept or you do not. You, by your actions, propose an alliance. I either accept or I do not. And then it just goes back and forth. It's kind of interesting, just as an exercise that's similar to regular diplomacy, but for me, it's not nearly as satisfying. I don't know. What's your feeling about it?
It's been, in any case, very instructive. I understood more. Maybe I understood quickly. I learned quickly about some mechanism, not only tactic anyway. I learned a lot, but also about the weaknesses or strength of some countries. Maybe I would have focused too much on the messages in a full press game, and I would have maybe needed one or two more full press game to learn the same thing about the strengths of the country geographically. But I've been frustrated many times, of course, not being able to communicate with one other player and just clear one stupid question from the beginning. I mean, so saying for 3 years, what does Germany want? What does Italy want? Why does Austria keep on attacking me, etc.? We could reach another level with full press, of course. I found it anyway very interesting. Yeah.
Likewise. It was an interesting experience, and hopefully I'll do better next time.
Or you will. I can also imagine. I have never played with Turkey, but it's you have to take off as long as you're still blocked in your corner. It can be frustrating, I guess.
Yeah, usually I don't end up being locked in the corner for so long, but with Gunboat, it's hard. Well, thank you for doing an after action report with me about this game. You know, I've never done one for a Gunboat game before, so I appreciated having someone to run through the moves with.
Thanks. Likewise.
I hope you enjoyed this diplomacy commentary after action report. And if you liked it, you know what to do. Like and subscribe, and check out my blog and my Patreon or Ko-Fi. I should note the people whose names now appear on screen are those without whom this channel and its growth, as it currently exists, might not be possible. So they have my thanks. And until next time, Florida Man out.